Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about invisible meaning. This topic lies under semantics and pragmatics of linguistic course of B.Ed First year. I would like to welcome you all. Now let's start from invisible meaning, the topic today's discussion. I think all of you might have known about the meaning of the invisible. Okay, so invisible means not clearly seen in the literal meaning, but that is not in the linguistics. Invisible means that is not clearly understood, right? Not clearly presented. Okay, so what is invisible meaning in semantics and pragmatics? Let's see. While speaking, sometimes the speaker may not express the things directly or clearly using language. The time the listener or the receiver's audience need to draw the intended meaning of the speaker. It means that while speaking, the speaker may not express or present his intended meaning through the use of the language. The time the audience, the listeners try to understand what the speaker is conveying to us. Okay, this is what called invisible meaning. You also can see next point. So invisible meaning is the intended meaning that speaker may not express directly. This is what called invisible meaning that I have already mentioned, right? It is also known as the hidden meaning that is not clearly explicitly presented, right? So you can see the example there. The context meeting two friends at the house. Okay, to the साथीहरुले घरमा बसिरहेका छन्, भेट भएको छन्, and then they discuss like, it's so hot today. Yes, one of the friends says like, A says, and B says, really, would you like to drink water? You see how the effective communication has been taken place here. So one says it's so hot today, and B says, really, yes, would you like to drink water? The context is connected in their language. Of course, thank you so much. Very beautiful example of invisible meaning here. The speaker has not said that, friend, today is so hot, would you give me a glass of water? He has not presented, he has not said, he has not, let's say, mentioned these things. But the listener, B friend, has easily understood the invisible meaning or intended meaning from the language of the speaker. Okay, his friend A. Now let's see context. Okay, so context is one of the important element in semantics and pragmatics, especially in pragmatics. Context here in the pragmatics refers to the situation where the participants use language to fulfill the need or to achieve the goals. Okay, so context is very important element in pragmatics. In the absence of the context, we cannot fulfill our goal of communication, aim of communication, purpose of communication. That's why we as the speakers, we have the listeners, the participants, we have to clearly know the context. Okay, the meaning of language or the word or sentence depends on the context in which the participants involved. Okay, this is what called the context you usually understand. In regarding the context in pragmatics, there are two types of context, which are as follows. You see, the first one is linguistic context and next one is physical context. Linguistic context means the systematic presentations of the words in a sentence and their meaning given, presented. That is called linguistic context. Physical context means the context beyond to the language used. Okay, you can see the descriptions here in the next slide. Linguistic context refers to the use of words in a given structure. Okay, the context is context, but of linguistic context. That means the systematic arrangements of the words in a sentence and their meaning. This is what called linguistic context. It also refers to the meaning of a word in relation to the other word that is used in a sentence or structure. For example, I have a pen. So there is have because there is I. There is I because there is have. And there is a pen. Why? Because there is a and there is pen. So I have a pens not. Why? Because there is a. So this is what called as the linguistic context. Okay, the words connections in a sentence and their meaning. For example, the meaning of the word bank depends on the word that is used in a sentence. Okay, so the word bank may have different meaning depending on the context. Okay, here in the sentence, What kind of context is given? You see, for example, his friend is sick, so he is searching for the blood bank. So from this systematic, let's say, the occurrence of the words in a sentence that and the meaning that is presented is called linguistic context. तपाईहरुले के बुझ्नु पर्यो भने linguistic context भनेको वाक्यमा भएका शब्दहरुको जुन एउटा सम्बन्ध हुन्छ र त्यो सम्बन्धबाट दिने मिनिङ जुन हुन्छ त्यसलाई हामीले चाहिँ linguistic context भन्ने गर्छौं, right? Physical context, on the other hand, refers to the time and place in which language or utterance or sentence or words or any linguistic expressions are used. So, the physical context does not directly belong to the linguistic context because this context directly belongs to the context of beyond language. Okay, language भन्दा अलि परको जस्ट जुलाई हामीले सिचुएसन कन्टेक्स्ट भन्ने गर्छौं. Okay, so this is what called physical context. Okay, for example, you say good morning in the morning, you say good night the night, you say good afternoon during the daytime. So this is not what called linguistic context. This is the physical context, the situation where we have been encountered to communicate. Now let's discuss about the next very important topic, Deixis. Okay, Deixis. What is meant by Deixis, right? The term Deixis refers to the word or phrase that denotes to a person, place or time. So Deixis is such a word that refers to person, place or time. Remember, okay, the history of the word Deixis, how was it developed and taken from which language? The word Deixis was derived from the Greek language that was used for pointing or indicating, pointing and indicating. So the words which are used for pointing or indicating are called Deixis. Okay, so in English, all the words cannot be used to point or indicate persons, place and the time. So very easily what we want to say can say that all the words in a language that we find are not Deixis. So because they do not necessarily point, person, place and time. Certain words are there, they only play the role of Deixis. So the words which refer to persons, the words which refer to places, the words which refer to time only can be the Deixis. So all the words of language cannot be Deixis. I think you have easily understood, right? There are only certain words that are used for this purpose. The words like this, that, now, then, here, there, okay, you, they, etc. are known as the deictic expressions or they are the examples of Deixis. So तपाईं के बुझ्नु पर्यो भने चाहिँ यदि भाषाका कुनै शब्दहरूले व्यक्तिलाई, ठाउँलाई र समयलाई चाहिँ बताउँछन् भने देखाउँछन् भने ती शब्दहरू चाहिँ Deixis हुने गर्छन्. सबै शब्दहरू भाषाका शब्दहरू चाहिँ Deixis भन्न सक्दैनन्, right? Okay, there are mainly three types of Deixis which are as follows. You can see person Deixis, place Deixis and time Deixis. So without watching the descriptions below, you can easily guess that person Deixis refers to the words which show the person, which point out the persons. Okay, place Deixis simply refers to those words which show the we point the places. Okay, this and that, yaha, teha, like you, like. Okay, time Deixis. Okay, the words which only show the time. Okay, periods of time, like so there, that is called time Deixis. Okay, let's see what is mentioned here in the next slide. Person Deixis refers to the words that indicate or point a person like I, you, me, him, her, them, they, he, she, etc. So they are called the person Deixis. I also person, you also person, me also person and blah blah blah. Finally, she also person and other words also can be used to show the persons, right? So it also shows the participants' roles in conversation or speech. Okay, participants' roles like speaker, first person, receiver, second persons, right? And other persons, third persons, like I, we, you, he, she, it, they. Okay, they are the person Deixis. Very simply, and others also are there. Subjective, objective pronouns, okay, also can be person Deixis. In the examination, you will be asked. Remember, okay. Now, place Deixis Place Deixis refers to the words or dative expressions that are used to point to a location, right? Location means the place where we just are, let's say, encounter or just meet together or stay for some time for the discussion. It shows the spatial location of the participants who involved in the speech event. So speech event refers to the situation where we discuss about on the certain topic or purpose. This is what called speech event. For example, marriage ceremony, funeral ceremony, okay, or any other ceremonies like or just a communication. No, they are called speech event. For example, you can see the example of the place Deixis as here and there. Okay, so this is all about. And next one, time Deixis. And time Deixis refers to the words that are used to point out the time, like now, then, last week, and so on. So time Deixis ले के गर्दछ त अहिलेको तत्कालीन त्यो बेलाको then भनेको last week गत हप्ता and so many other time periods that can be pointed out by the time Deixis. Okay, so you can be asked from this Deixis. So I'd like to request you to say person Deixis and then place Deixis and the time Deixis. So thank you students, thank you friends. So today we will do this mass. I will come with the next video the next day. Until then, I would like to say goodbye. Thank you. Bye bye.